Hey, I'm Jan from Cyclists, and today we will install a TPU tube. Installing tubes, most of us know how to do that, we think. But we learned that probably a long time ago, and a lot of things have changed. The modern rims have changed. They're now two shelves on the side of the well onto which the bead pops when the tire seats, which puts a lot of stress on the tube. The tubes have changed too. Fortunately, for the better. The new tubes, TPU tubes, are super light, they're super strong, they have super low rolling resistance, they're better for the environment, but they're also quite thin, so we don't want to overstretch them when we install them. So here's what we need. We need a tube, obviously. This is a Renair's TPU tube. A tire, any tire will do. This is a Renair's TPU specific or Rondo grade road tire. You can use tubeless tires, you can use standard tires. We need the wheel, again, doesn't matter. It can be with hooks, hookless, tubeless, compatible or not. With tubes you have a lot of leeway. We need the pump to inflate the tire. And then there are two things that are useful. One is the cool stop tire bead jack, in case the tire bead doesn't go on by hand easily onto the rim. And then a spray bottle with soapy water if the tire doesn't pop into place at a reasonable pressure. Before we start, we want to check the wheel to make sure the rim tape is on straight and smooth and not folded over. All the spoke holes are covered. It's also a good time to check the spokes, make sure there are no broken spokes, they're all tight. Check the hub bearings. Wheel looks great. Let's get started. Let's put the tire on the rim. Usually we put the label over the valve hole, and then we just push the first bead over the sidewall all the way around. At the end, it's often a little tight, so rather than break out the tire levers, just push the bead into the center of the rim well all the way around the tire, and then you usually get enough slack that you can get the bead over the sidewall without tools. Next we'll put the tube in the tire. Even after riding these for quite a while, I'm still amazed how small and how light they are. In the past, we used to inflate the tube lightly so it held its shape before we put it in the tire. We don't want to do that with the ultralight tubes because that puts some stress on it next to the valve, and so instead we put the tube in with no air dome. Just insert the valve and lay the tube inside the tire, making sure it doesn't get folded or anything. And now we start putting a little air in, so it fills the tire. Now we want to put the tube on top of the rim, so it's out of the way when we install the second bead. Starting at the valve again, and making sure it's all nice and even. Double check our valve, it's straight. And then we put the second bead on the rim. On to the next bead. So we start opposite from the valve, and there's a reason for that. The valve sits inside the well in the center of the rim bed, and we need that well to push the bead in so we get the slack at the end to push the last bit of the tire over the rim sidewall. So the only place where we don't need the well is at the end, and that's where the valve has to be. So let's start working around the tire from opposite side of the valve. Work from both sides toward the valve. At the end it's too tight, and the reason for that is that the air inside the tube is pushing outward and the bead cannot go into the center of the rim well. So we let out some air and then we go around the tire and just push it all the way into the center of the well. And then we get some slack here and we can push a little further. And then we go one more time around. And so we work our way around until we get it over. So it's not brute force, it's really just creating the slack that we need to get it over. And if you do it right, you really don't need tools to get the tire on, unless you have a rim with a very, very shallow rim bed. And don't worry if you have to go around several times. And then, if we can't get the bead on by hand because the rim has a well that's too shallow or something, let's not use a tire lever because we're going to pinch the tube under there. We can't see what we're doing. Instead, that's what the Cool Stop bead jack is for, which basically pulls the bead up and onto the rim. So you just go from both sides. And now we need to check the one place where it's possible that we've pinched the tube and trapped it between the tire and the rim is here at the valve. And so when we're pushing up, we can feel that it's free. And if it's not free, we notice and we can also free it. And then just for safety, we'll go around the rim one more time and check that the tube is not trapped anywhere between the tire and the rim. I'll just start at the valve and go once around each side. Other side too. All looks good. Okay, so now all we have to do is put in air. We've got the tire on the rim and the tube inside. And if you're running a compressor, don't jam in all the air at once, but go in small steps so the tube can expand as the tire moves into place. With a pump, we don't have that problem, so we can just inflate it. And since this is a tubeless ready rim, we're waiting for the tire to pop into place. Once it starts moving, don't put in more air, but wait for it to move. We want that pop where the tube suddenly has to expand quite a bit to be as gentle as possible. So once you get to about 40 psi or so, if it doesn't pop in place by itself, spray some soapy water on it, and that will help get the tire moving. And then you can also help it along a bit with your fingers. And put a bit more air in. Until it pops into place. Okay, tire is on, it's mounted. Let's check that the line that's molded into the sidewall of the tire is visible everywhere, is parallel to the rim, which means that the tire is really seated and not somewhere still not quite in place. After that, adjust the air pressure, close the valve, put on the valve cap if you like. It's not entirely necessary, and you're ready to go. When I'm heading out for a big race or adventure like Unbound XL, I want to make sure that the tire really is in there with no stresses and nothing. The tube is in there with no stresses or anything. So I let out all the air again. The tire is seated, so it's not gonna pop back into place the second time I inflate it. And when I inflate the tube again, then it expands very gradually. There are no stresses. It's all happy in there. It's nice insurance. It's not necessary, but it's something that I just like to do. But otherwise, just enjoy.